Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant, and this is all about Elite Dangerous. Today was the second day of Gamescom, and Frontier made a whole bunch of new reveals for Elite. There are still 2 more days left of Gamescom and Frontier live streams, meaning that there should still yet be quite a few more reveals for the game. As I said yesterday though, it would appear from what we've seen so far that the only reveals we're going to get at Gamescom for Elite are for patch 2.2 The Guardians, and that content for patches 2.3, 2.4 and even hints of Season 3 are going to be saved for a later date. But I certainly don't want to dash any expectations because, as I say, there's still 2 days left, so anything is still possible, of course. Anyway, as to those announcements and reveals, let's go and take a look at them. We'll start off with one of the biggest things, the new passenger missions. There's a bunch of videos on the Frontier YouTube channel showing off this new content, and I want to play some of that in the background here as I talk about them. Passenger missions can be accessed from the in-station services menu. And you can see that the service menu actually looks a bit different now, and there's a couple of new additions here, including the crew lounge. That's something we'll have a look at a little bit further into the video. So passenger missions, they're in the passenger lounge, and they will offer you different types of missions. Now there's bulk passenger missions, which you can see here in the background, and essentially these are, as many people predicted, just cargo transportation. They will go into the passenger racks or the passenger cabins, but essentially you're just shipping the passengers from A to B, and at the moment you can see in the video here that the game still references them as cargo, saying that you will get your reward upon successful delivery. Now I'm trying not to be too disheartened at that, because obviously there are other types of passenger missions as well, including VIP passengers, as well as some talk for transporting military personnel as well as prisoners. And you can see as you load up your passengers, they go into their cabin there. There's a little head slot for each individual passenger that you can take, so you can take on multiple missions at one time. VIP missions, on the other hand, are a little bit different. These you need a passenger class ship for, which would be the Orca or the newly announced Beluga. VIP passengers have much higher standards, and they will require either first class cabins or the luxury cabins. Again, here what you do is ship the passengers from A to B, but en route you may get a new request. In the video here it shows that the passengers actually request to go and have a look. It's a bit of a thrill seekers because they want to go and have a look at a conflict zone. So you take them there, sit there for a few minutes until they've had enough, and then they basically thank you and tell you it's time to move on or go to their destination. You will need to take care of your VIP passengers. Bulk passengers are a little bit different, they're not so picky, but VIP passengers do have some limits to what they'll put up with. If you don't do what they ask, or if you don't do a very good job, if you don't meet time limits, then they might not be too happy with you. And if this happens, they can leave your ship. Now they may leave when you arrive at a different station. Before they get to their destination, they might just abandon you, or if they want, they can eject from your ship, because their passenger cabins have the ability to eject. Now the thought of them ejecting is also quite interesting, because if you can actually see them eject, then well, it's not to stop you shooting them or scooping them up, but either way you're going to get a penalty if they do abandon you. Firstly, you won't get the reward payment for fulfilling the contract, and secondly, you'll have to pay to refurbish the cabin that they just essentially destroyed by ejecting. Now, to me, I don't want to get too picky here, but the bulk passenger missions are certainly a copy and paste of normal cargo runs. The VIP passenger missions do have some differences, but at the end of the day, I don't think those differences are quite so dramatic enough that we could consider them brand new gameplay. And the situation where you have to take a passenger to a conflict zone is a great example for that. It's not a new destination. Conflict zones have been in the game for ages, so there's really nothing new at all going on there. The difference really is just your reason for being there, which is arbitrary at best. Now hopefully Frontier are also going to implement different locations, different places for you to actually visit. Because without that, it would seem to me that bulk passenger missions as well as VIP passenger missions are pretty much a reskin of what we have already in the game. However, of course, things could be shaken up quite a bit, because you do have your Guardian ship, your fighters in your ship bay, so you may need to protect your passengers from oncoming threats. And not to forget that there's also the tourist missions that have been discussed previously on the Elite Dangerous forums, as well as some hints towards military personnel and prisoner transports. Now, none of that has actively been discussed yet, aside from the tourist missions, which Frontier have actually asked for location destinations on their forum. And you can see some of those tourist destinations right here. These are ones that have been submitted to Frontier, and one of the developers actually went out and had a look. Now, these aren't by any means going to be included in the game, but they're a good example of the type of thing that is going to be included in the game. Each tourist location will have some flavor text with it, and included with that text will be the commander name who submitted the destination. Other destinations for tourists will be areas of historical importance, and Frontier have already confirmed that the Tiny Isla Graveyards will be one such location. So it seems that Frontier will craft a few unique locations at the very least. Now, how all this works in terms of gameplay will be that the tourist destinations will have a beacon there, and that when you arrive at the target destination, you'll have to scan the beacon, and this will confirm your arrival at that specific location. So in terms of gameplay at least, it's quite basic, but in terms of exploration, it could be quite interesting. So I'm sure there's more to come on passenger missions over the coming live streams. Now, I mentioned yesterday about new station interiors, and I'm going to show some footage of that right here, but it's also been confirmed that there are new station types. There's going to be new civilian stations, military installations, as well as shipyards. I think this is absolutely great to see and will bring some much needed variation to the game. Hopefully we can interact with these stations in a slightly different way. In particular, the military installations and the shipyards should offer us some different functions, I would have thought. At least I hope so. The new station interiors are nice to see, at least in terms of variation. Here we can see the luxurious tourist station, and here is the more industrial refinery stations. Moving on from that, Frontier showed off some images of some new geological structures on planetary surfaces. Now, I don't actually have these images to show, unfortunately, but they did confirm geysers, fissures, as well as fumaroles. Now, fumaroles are particularly interesting because these are cracks or holes within the side of a volcano that allow gases to emerge, and really, in order to have those, you need active volcanism. Volcanism is something that's been confirmed for the Horizon season, and David Braben talked about it in brief at today's Gamescom video. It wasn't quite a full-on confirmation of volcanism, but he did confirm the fumaroles, geysers, and the other aspects that I mentioned, so hopefully that does mean volcanism indeed. I'd also like to see this extend to the ability to land on lava-based planets. Now, I don't know if that's me getting my hopes up too high, but David Braben did mention the various liquids and magma that come out of planetary interiors. There's also a video here showing off the new Beluga liner. It's great to see a new ship in the game. It's been quite a while since we've had one. This is one of the very large ships, perhaps the biggest so far, although not quite as large as I was actually imagining. After all, quite a while ago, David Braben did say that the Beluga was going to be a little bit too large to actually get through the docking hatch. And although there's some suggestions now that the top fin on the ship actually folds down to get through the docking hatch, again, it's not quite as big as I was expecting, and it does look very, very different to the concept art, which I actually really did like. But nonetheless, it's quite an impressive ship, and like I say, it's nice to have another nice ship in the game. So we're going to be needing both the Beluga and the Orca in order to use passenger missions, or at least the VIP passenger missions. These are the only two ships to which you can equip both the first class cabins and the luxury cabins. There's also some nice quality of life improvements. It's been confirmed for automatic ship transfer, which will be the ability to summon your ship from another station to another station remotely. Frontier also added the ability to pay fines at a distance, and this means that you won't have to return to the station that the fine was actually issued at, and that you can do that without having to travel all the way there. There's been a very slight change to the hyperspace animation. If you look here, in the distance you can see a faint orb which actually slowly comes towards you, and this is the star that you're actually warping to. And one other nice little change is that now, prior to your jump to another system, you actually get a little message telling you the security level of that station, of that system that you're actually going to jump into. And one very nice change is the ability to filter your route on the galaxy map. So at the moment you just plot a route to your destination, and you can choose between your fastest route or an economic route. But now you're going to also be able to filter it by various categories. You can filter it by a system security type, you can filter it by a government type or economy type, and there'll be many different reasons that you may want to do this. And there's also a new filter that will be great for explorers, who will now be able to filter their route by star class. So you'll soon be able to avoid all those stars that you cannot fuel from. Also, it'll probably be quite nice to plan routes that go through neutron stars or black holes, or any other object of your chosen desire. And on a related note, Frontier confirmed that implemented into patch 2.2 will be certain changes to specific stars such as white dwarfs and neutron stars, giving them a much more realistic and scientifically accurate appearance. Fighters and AI crew are a big feature of patch 2.2. Now, Frontier themselves haven't spoken about this just yet, they're saving that for tomorrow, but certain details have been revealed by third-party games websites. This includes the information that fighters can be controlled either by players or AI pilots which you can hire. These, I assume, can be hired through the crew lounge, which we mentioned earlier, where you'll get different types of crew members. And in your ship, you'll be able to have a maximum of 10 fighters in the hangar, although I'm guessing that will depend on the ship's size initially. It's going to be interesting to see how many can be deployed at a single time. I wouldn't imagine that all 10 could be launched all together, but you never know. There's going to be 3 different types of fighters available, the F-63 Condor and the Imperial Fighter, both of which are currently in the CQC or arena, and there will be another new ship, the Taipan, or what we saw yesterday as the Independent Fighter, and this one will be the most powerful of the 3. What ability players have to interact with the crew is going to be quite interesting, and I'm hopeful that eventually this crew feature will extend to the next patch, patch 2.3, which will be a multi-crew. Although Frontier said there's not going to be any NPC crew on board our ships, well, I'm hoping they've changed their minds on that. Aliens. When are they going to turn up? A lot of people have been assuming it was going to be in patch 2.4, but I've always said we're going to see them much sooner than that. It turns out that Frontier are going to reveal the aliens, or at least the first iteration of the aliens, on Sunday in their live stream, and these are going to be included in patch 2.2. There isn't any more details to show on this yet, unfortunately, other than to say that yesterday Frontier did show the press behind closed doors some footage of an alien ship. So the big question then is, when is all of this going to be released? And the answer to that is mid-October, so 2 months away, quite a way still. And that's going to be coming up very close to the 1 year point of the Horizons expansion. That places the patch at 4 months since the Engineers release, and at this point it would seem unlikely to more or less impossible that we're going to see patches 2.3 or 2.4 this year. And I've been assuming for a while now that we won't see Season 3 until summer of 2017, and maybe we'll get an announcement in the first quarter of next year. But in either event, it's turning out that Horizons is going to be a much longer season than many people were initially expecting. That then brings us to the end of this video, and I'll be back tomorrow with some more news from Gamescom. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.